Schizophrenia. Schizophrenia fractures how your brain processes reality. It's not split personalities. It's your brain misfiring and creating experiences that aren't happening. You might hear voices commenting on your actions, criticizing you, or giving commands. You see people who don't exist. Delusions convince you of false beliefs. You think the government is tracking you or strangers are plotting against you. These aren't choices. Your brain genuinely perceives them as real. Emotions flatten until you can't feel joy. Motivation disappears, making showering feel impossible. Speech becomes disorganized. Movies show it as violent, but people with schizophrenia are more likely to be victims. The real danger is internal, the confusion and terror of not knowing what's real. You can't trust your own perceptions. Eating disorders. Eating disorders hijack your relationship with food and twist it into control. Anorexia restricts eating to dangerous levels, driven by fear of gaining weight. You look in the mirror and see someone overweight even when you're dangerously thin. Every calorie becomes an enemy. Bulimia creates a different cycle. You eat large amounts in secret, then purge through vomiting or excessive exercise. The shame is overwhelming, but the pattern repeats. Both conditions destroy your body slowly. Your heart weakens, bones become brittle, hair falls out. But eating disorders aren't about food. They're about control, perfectionism, and trying to shrink yourself when the world feels too big. The disorder speaks in your own voice. Recovery feels like giving up the only thing protecting you, even though that protection is killing you. ADHD. ADHD is a condition where your brain struggles to regulate focus, impulses, and energy. The prefrontal cortex, which controls planning and self-control, works differently. You want to pay attention and finish tasks, but your brain won't cooperate. People think ADHD means you can't focus on anything. That's wrong. You can hyper-focus on interesting things for hours. The problem is you can't choose what gets your attention. Boring tasks feel physically painful to start. Your mind wanders during conversations. You forget appointments and leave projects half-finished. Not because you're lazy, but because your brain doesn't produce enough dopamine to make follow-through rewarding. Time feels slippery. You underestimate how long things take. At work, you're called careless, but inside, you're trying harder than anyone realizes. Borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder makes your emotions feel like a storm you can't escape. Your brain struggles to regulate feelings, so emotions hit you like tsunamis. Something small like a canceled plan sends you spiraling into despair or rage within seconds. You feel everything at maximum intensity. Relationships become battlegrounds because you're terrified of abandonment. You cling desperately to people, then push them away when fear becomes unbearable. One moment someone is perfect, the next they're terrible. This black and white thinking extends to yourself. You're either worthless or special, never just human. Your sense of identity shifts constantly. Impulsivity strikes without warning. You might quit jobs suddenly or lash out verbally. People call you dramatic, but inside you're drowning. Every interaction feels like life or death. OCD. OCD traps your mind in a loop of intrusive thoughts and desperate rituals. Your brain gets stuck on a fear or terrible what-if scenario and won't let go. These are obsessions, unwanted thoughts that invade your mind. Maybe you're terrified of germs or convinced you left the stove on. The thoughts feel so urgent that your brain demands you do something to make them stop. That's where compulsions come in. You wash your hands until they bleed. You check door locks 15 times. You count, tap, or arrange objects in perfect order. These rituals feel like the only way to prevent disaster, but relief lasts seconds before anxiety returns. People joke about being so OCD when they like things organized, but real OCD is torture. You know the rituals are irrational, but the fear is overwhelming. OCD makes you a prisoner. PTSD. PTSD happens when your brain gets stuck in survival mode after experiencing something terrifying. A car crash, violence, abuse, or war rewires how your brain processes fear. Normally, after something scary ends, your nervous system calms down. With PTSD, that system breaks. Your brain keeps replaying the trauma as if it's still happening right now. Flashbacks aren't normal memories. They're vivid physical re-experiences. A smell or sound transports you back instantly. Your heart pounds and you genuinely believe you're in danger again. Nightmares invade your sleep. You become hypervigilant, constantly scanning for threats, unable to relax. Loud noises make you jump. You avoid anything that reminds you of the trauma. Emotions become unpredictable. Anger erupts over small things. You feel numb and disconnected. PTSD PTSD makes you feel broken. Panic disorder. Panic disorder makes your body sound a false alarm that feels like dying. Your brain's fear center misfires and triggers a full survival response even though there's no danger. A panic attack hits suddenly. Your heart pounds so hard you're convinced it will explode. Your chest tightens, making it impossible to breathe. Sweat pours down your back. Your hands go numb and dizziness makes the room spin. You're certain something catastrophic is happening. Heart attack, stroke, death. Every sensation feeds the terror. The attack peaks within 10 minutes, then fades, leaving you drained. But the real trap isn't the attack itself. After your first one, you develop fear of having another panic attack. You start avoiding places where you panicked before. Your world shrinks. You're not afraid of the world. You're afraid of yourself. Bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder sends your brain swinging between extreme emotional states you can't control. There are two poles, mania and depression. During a manic episode, your brain floods with energy that feels superhuman. You sleep 2 hours and wake up buzzing with ideas. You talk fast and feel like you can accomplish anything. Risky decisions suddenly seem brilliant. You might spend money you don't have or start 5 projects at once. Colors seem brighter and sitting still becomes impossible. But mania burns too hot. Your thoughts race faster than you can follow. Irritability spikes. Sometimes the energy tips into paranoia or delusions. Then the crash comes. The manic high collapses into depressive lows where all that energy drains away completely. You can barely get out of bed. Everything that felt possible now feels pointless. Autism Spectrum Disorder. Autism Spectrum Disorder is a different way of processing the world. It's not just about being socially awkward. For some with autism, socializing is tough. Reading facial expressions, understanding jokes, or making small talk doesn't come naturally. It's not because they don't want to. Their brain processes social interactions differently. Imagine someone handed you a manual for a new language but forgot to explain the rules. Then there's sensory overload. While most people barely notice a fluorescent light humming or a dog barking, someone with autism might hear and feel every little thing like it's cranked to maximum volume. It's like being stuck in a room where the volume's always on the highest setting. Routine provides comfort because the world already feels unpredictable and overwhelming. Autism isn't something to fix. It's different neurological wiring that requires understanding. Depression. Depression drains the color out of life. It affects how your brain produces serotonin and dopamine, the messengers that help you feel pleasure, motivation, and connection. When these systems malfunction, everything becomes harder. You wake up exhausted even after sleeping 10 hours. Food tastes like nothing. Hobbies that once excited you now feel pointless. Your brain tells you that nothing will ever get better because depression doesn't feel like sadness. It feels like emptiness. Sadness has a reason. Depression just exists, heavy and constant, even when your life looks fine. People say, just think positive or go for a walk. But depression isn't a bad mood. It's your brain physically struggling to generate the chemicals that make feeling possible. Thoughts slow down, decisions become overwhelming, and getting out of bed feels like climbing a mountain.